Hi, this recording is for History of Modern Thought, and in this video I'm going to be talking about materialism. However, I have to emphasize from the beginning that here we're not, because in Indonesia when we talk about materialism, we often talk about something more economic. So, you are a materialist or a materialistic person, for example. When we use this word in Indonesian context, it's more about the emphasis on wealth, the emphasis on the properties and how rich you are and so on. Or when somebody is considered as materialistic, it's more about when he's looking for money and everything around him is all about wealth, it's all about richness and so on. So it's more economic. However, when we talk about materialism in philosophy, it's not about this thing. It's quite far, even though there is a slight relation between the kind of materialism we just talked about with materialism in philosophy, but really different thing. So this word is known in metaphysics, actually. So physics and metaphysics. Well, physics is everything that we can see with and everything that we can touch and so on, sensible things, while metaphysics talks about beyond physics, so what we cannot see. So we're not talking about what are here, the things around us, objects around us, but we're talking about things that are more abstract. Well, in metaphysics, there is one kind that refers to the philosophy of being, which is called as ontology. While in ontology, we talk about about life, the concept of life, the concept of reality, like what is real, what is reality, and what does it consist of. So this is an ontological question in philosophy. So when we talk about what does reality consist of, well, we as common people, actually we have different answers, of course, but in philosophy there are three most well-known answers for this. The first is pluralism, the second is dualism, and the third is monism. Okay, so as you can see from the names, pluralism is more about multiplicity. So to answer the question, what does reality consist of, they would answer that there are many things, like there are many different ways, there are many kinds, and there are different modes of being. So this not only one. Well, if you ask the dualists in dualism, they will give you two. So in pairs. I think to exemplify this, we can talk about, like, for something like the body and the mind, the matter and physics. Okay, something that we can see and something that we cannot see. So in dualism, they talk about this, the mind and body, positive and negative, and so on. So a lot of dualistic ideas that we can hear and we can study about us. Okay, so the other one, in monism, they don't believe in two things that make up the reality. They believe only one. However, there are many things, but what we can say here is that in monism there is only singular explanation for the reality, while for pluralism there are many explanations, there are many possible realities that they can explain, while in dualism normally there are always two. Okay, mind and body, positive and negative, matter and physics or mental, something like that. In monism, it's only one. Well, when we go further about monism, so this is now monist ontology, there are three well-known kinds of monist ontology. The first one is materialism, which we are talking about, and then we talk about idealism, and we talk about spiritualism. In general, for materialism, when you ask them the question like, what is real and what does reality consist of, the answer will be matter. Okay, so the most important one is matter, and so it's a fundamental substance in nature. So from this definition, it's quite closely defined to physicalism. Okay, like it's the view that all that exists in the world ultimately physical. It's more physical. Okay, so they will give you this answer. The most important one is matter. What about idealism? Well, when you give them the same answer, the idealist will answer that the most important one is the mind. So this is opposed to materialism. It's not matter, but mind. It's something abstract. Okay? So they value mind, consciousness, the will as in the first order in idealism. So matter is only the byproducts of the mind, okay, of the consciousness. While opposed to this, in materialism, matter is the most important one. That's in the first step, while the will and mind and the consciousness is only the byproduct of the matter. But the other one is called spiritualism. In spiritualism, we can say that it's quite similar to idealism in nature because they talk about abstract things. However, in spiritualism, it's more like immaterial reality. They refer to God. They refer to supernatural being, which is not considered in the same way in idealism. So these three. So we have said earlier that matter is the fundamental substance in materialism. So this means that other things like mental states, will, and consciousness are only the results of these material interactions. While in comparison to idealism, material interactions are secondary. So it's vice versa. Now, there is also another kind of materialism which is called as mechanical materialism. In mechanical materialism, the theory is that the world, that's the way they perceive the world, consists of entirely hard, messy material objects that interact like stones. So it's like by impact and also by gravitational attraction. That's what they hold by the mechanical materialists. So this denies immaterial things such as the minds in their doctrines. And then, however, when we study more, when we read more, we'll see also the fact that matter in reality is conceived as made up of things like electrons, protons, or mesons, okay? Which is different from, or in contrast with what the mechanical materialist says. So this has led to the emergence of physicalistic materialism. Physicalistic materialism is because the reality that matter is made of electrons, protons, and so on. Therefore, as we can see here, that the term materialism has extended beyond a lot of just common paradigm, like what other people or common people usually know about materialism, including later you will have an assignment to read more about this one, but another kind of materialism that we need to talk about here is the dialectical materialism. Well, this one is an orthodox philosophy of communist countries. So it's a theory of how changes arise in human history. And this has already led to historical materialism. Because like in historical materialism, there is a theory that the society will develop based on the choice of their mode of production, or what is known as productive force, okay, and the interactions between this, the productions and the forces, and so on. So it's actually only a theory based on the history. That's why it's called as historical materialism. But then long after that, it becomes the foundation of a lot of political theories, including like communism, including we know as socialism, and so on. So later, what you need to do is to continue to do some research on this, especially how dialectical materialism leads to historical materialism, and then later to communism and socialism. How are these three related? So we have reached the end of the session today, and thank you.